my favourite Troy Cassar-Daley song. This is Play, the brand new CD, Home.
Well, my boy said he wants to join the biggest band in the world. I said, son, you better learn some chords if you really want to get the girls. Play, ain't nothing to it, keep it in your hands all day. Play, you know you want to do it, pick up that guitar and play. Woo! Clapton, Richards, Angus and Hendrix, Chet and Stevie Ray. Don't just stand looking in the shop window, I know what those boys would say. Play, ain't nothing to it, keep it in your hands all day. Play, you know you want to do it, pick up that guitar and play. Yeah. Talking about TV games, you don't need those playbox things. You ain't gonna be no guitar hero till your fingers really hit the strings. Play, ain't nothing to it, keep it in your hands all day. Play, you know you wanna do it, pick up that guitar and play. Play that thing. What you wear, it ain't what you own, it ain't where you went to school. Get your hands round a six-string devil if you really want a taste of cool. Play, ain't nothing to it, keep it in your hands all day. Play, you know you want to do it, pick up that guitar and play. Play, you know you want to do it, pick up that guitar and play.
His latest studio album debuted at #1 on the ARIA charts, and he's back now doing what he loves, taking his music out on the road. My guest today on Rock That Country is Troy Cassar-Daley. G'day, Troy, you there?
I sure am.
How are you, mate?
Kylie, I'm better than ever, and I hope everything finds you well down there too.
Yes, I'm doing very well, thank you. First of all, I should say congratulations on the release of your 8th studio album, Home. It is a brilliant album, Troy.
Well, thank you. Look, I tell you, everyone goes on about having bucket lists and stuff like that. This was a bit of a bucket list record for me to make, to tell you the truth, Kylie.
Yeah, I did read that you have fulfilled a lifetime ambition to write, record and produce the album in Nashville, and that must have been an awesome feeling to tick that off the bucket list, mate.
Look, it really was. And I mean, most of the songs were written here in Australia before I left, but when I lived over there for about 3 months with my wife and kids, I decided to do a bit of local writing while I was over there too, and a couple of those songs made it onto the record. And such a great experience, and such great players over that way to mix it up with as well. But I mean, I've enjoyed making records at home as much as I've made this one, but this was just a step aside to try and produce one myself and really sort of concentrate on what the producer's role is all about. And I wanted to be the singer as well, so was very important to me.
So you must be able to sit back and go, look, I'm really proud of the work that I've done on that.
Look, I think I was proud of the players too, because I gave them the guidance they needed with my scratchy old demos I made at home here in my office, and they were pretty crook, I've got to tell you.
I don't believe that for a minute, Troy.
Look, when I started playing them for the band, I was almost wincing, going, oh no, they've got to listen to this and then make them sound okay. But they liked the honesty of the demos, and they said, look, as long as we can hear that vocal and hear the arrangement, we're good to go.
Cool. Now, I do know that you didn't play any instruments on this album, which is very different for you. So why was that?
Well, here's the thing. I did all the demos at home and played every instrument on the demos, you know, and I thought to make sure that I'm going to have a clear head to be a producer, I think over there it was just much better for me to sit back and do a lot more listening and just to do the singing. What it did, I suppose, it freed me up to sit back and listen to the arrangements and see how they were working. But to tell you the truth, I mean, I really wanted to get out and play guitar. It was killing me not to play, and anyone that knows me will know that it's very awkward even to sing on stage without a guitar for me, you know.
And that would lead me to the question where my personal favourite on the album, and I said earlier to my listeners that it was very hard for me to pinpoint my favourite. There's no reason for me to do that, but Play is my personal favourite, the one I just rolled out then. And you did write that song, from what I understand, to inspire people just to pick up a guitar and have a bash at it. Is that right?
Well, yeah, I think it's just really important that people know that it's one of those passions that you don't have to put down, in midlife or later life. It's something you can keep doing. And my son was the inspiration behind the first part of the song, because he reckoned he was going to join U2 when Bono retired. And I chuckled to myself, but I thought, no, it's okay, he's got a big dream here. I'm not going to go shattering it just yet.
Yeah, you can't squash a child's dream.
No, I wasn't going to do that. And I said, well, mate, that's a pretty good plan. I said, but you might want to learn a few more chords yet. And he said, Dad, come on. He said, country's only 3 chords, isn't it? And it made me laugh, and I thought, well, there's your inspiration right there. He's a wag of a kid.
It's probably a little bit more than 3, I guess.
Might be a few more than 3. But Play was sort of started by that. And when I told Cole Buchanan the story, we laughed for about half a minute there, trying to get ideas together. And I thought it's a great inspiration. I think guitar has been a best friend to me in a lot of lonely situations, even being an only child, So there's another side of it too that was almost my best mate.
Yeah, no, and I think, did you speak to Keith about the song as well?
Yeah, I nearly had Keith singing on it, actually, because Keith had his throat trouble at the same time that we were just about to cut this track, and he said, look, I wish I was able to come over and sing. He said, but I'm just on strict rest at the moment before I go in for an operation. And he loved the track, and he loved all the Brent Mason guitar playing all over it as well. And you never know. One day we might even be able to play it live somewhere together. It'd be great fun.
That would be an amazing experience for listeners and fans all over, Troy.
Yeah.
Now, I was also reading that you, the song "Live and Learn," which is another one of my favourites, and your wife was the inspiration for that song.
Yeah, I still think I've learned a bit about my wife in the last couple of years. We've been together since 1993, and it's a long time to be together, and we were married in 96, and I think after the flood, when we were all cleaning up together, I think I learned a bit more about her, and I still don't think I appreciate her as much as I should, but I'm a bloke, Kylie. I think girls understand we're just wired differently, but we take a little while to understand what goes on with girls and what makes them tick, and I still haven't got them sussed out, but I'm always learning about her, so she really does light the room up when I see her. I'm
pretty bloody positive that that's how it is. Men still are from Venus and women are still from Mars.
Oh, that rings pretty true to me.
Now, Troy, you're doing 2 shows with the legendary Kenny Rogers, one in Perth and the other in Melbourne. So how does that make you feel to stand beside somebody of his calibre, even though, you're at the top of your game here in this country? And is it overwhelming for you to actually get the opportunity to play with Kenny Rogers, and he is a pioneer of country music?
Oh, Kylie, look, a lot of people bandy around the word legend a lot, but, you can easily bestow that on Kenny Rogers. And I've done 3 shows with him on the last tour that he did, and was totally, I just blown away with the songs that he had. He even had to make up medleys of some of his songs because he got so many hits. He couldn't fit them all in, And
well, that's just terrible, Troy, isn't it?
Oh, it's a rotten dilemma to have, isn't it? But, when Glenn Campbell wasn't able to come out and do the shows with him, it was up to myself and Adam Harvey and all my friends. Becky Cole's doing a couple, I think,
as well.
Yeah,
I believe Lee is too.
Yeah, Lee, John Williamson is as well. So there's a whole bunch of us that just pull together. and, tried to help out the agent who was putting it together just to make sure that there was, some good numbers there for them as well, and to put on some other acts. And putting on some Australian acts is a great flavour for Kenny. He loves listening to the music over here, and I'm looking forward to catching up with him again.
Oh, that's fantastic, because he, I do believe Kenny and Glenn are, been really close mates for a really long time. So I guess it's knocked Kenny about a little bit not to have his good old, his mate with him on tour this time.
Well, you can understand a lot of people. I was really hanging to see Glenn. I had my tickets booked here in Brisbane as well to go and see him, because I really wanted to see him live. I haven't seen him do a full show live, and unfortunately, being so sick, there's not much you can do about that. But I was really happy to put my hand up and help where I could. The only 2 gigs I could physically do in between my other shows was the Melbourne and Perth, and the Palais and places like that you don't get to play very often anyway.
No, correct.
So it's an awesome venue, and I'm just really keen to get down there and be a part of that tour.
Yeah, correct. Now, you're playing in Belmont, 16-footers this month, August 31. Yeah, you've played there before, yes?
I've played there many, many times. I would say Belmont 16-footers is a staple of country music for me, and I don't think I could get through a year without playing there. So it's a great, supported place as well, and I think with Harmony James with us as well, it's going to be a great show, and I look forward to being able to play a lot of the new material, because we really haven't done many gigs around Newcastle. Only the Lizotte show we did there earlier in the year. So it's going to be nice to get to the 16-footers and go and say hi to everyone and share the music around, Kylie. That's what we've got to do.
I agree, and I would imagine that there'd be very, very, very few, if any, seats left for that show. I know it was selling out very quickly. We're
just happy with the results, so I'm just glad that people are coming out to see us live, and people have got a choice where they spend their money, but I just like to make sure that we put our priorities into the show, and you can't get much more than 100%, but I always try and tell them I want to give 110% on the night, because they deserve it, and to play these new songs and a lot of the older ones as well has been a huge thrill this year. No, that's great. I'm actually going to be there on August 31 too. That's not very far away from where I live, and well, make sure you say good day. It'd be great to see you. I'm going to go. I'm just going to grab you and say, hey, it's me, Kylz. Yeah, done deal. Bring your tape recorder. We'll do some proper promos for you. Oh, you're a legend. Now, everybody who's listening, bear witness to that. There you go. You've got me cornered now. I have got you cornered and recorded as well. So I know you've got limited time, Troy, so just a couple of quick questions I've got for you is last month was NAIDOC week. Right. Yeah, what does that mean to you, Troy? Well, look, as an Indigenous Australian, I really love to be invited to some of these events. It was an amazing celebration of culture for me, and we get to go to some pretty interesting places too. I took my kids over to Ceduna, we played Perth, and we went up to the closing of NAIDOC week up at Karratha. So it's a fantastic time for me to be able to go and share our music with everyone else, and gee, you feel like you're part of a big extended family wherever you go, Kylie. It was an amazing time for me and the kids. Yeah, that's Karratha. That is a long way out, but... Oh, jingos. We do some very, very far-flung gigs, and, that was worth... The 2 flights to get to Perth and then up to Karratha was definitely worth it. The people up there just treated us so nicely. I can imagine they would. They would be very hospitable, very welcoming, and very much into country music. Oh, yeah. Troy, I know you've got another interview lined up any moment now, so I usually ask my guests this last final question. Yep. And it is, what is the last CD that Troy Cassar-Daley purchased, or the last song that you listened to? Wow, good question. The last CD definitely was a lady called Leona Williams, who was married to Merle Haggard, and she had a little in-store at the Ernest Tubb Records store in Nashville. And a friend of mine who works at the Ernest Tubb store said, you've got to come down. Leona Williams is doing an in-store. So I went and bought her record like a complete fan and lined up for an hour to go and get it signed. And I was thinking this morning when I got home, I thought, I've got to come up with some doozy questions for Troy. And I've interviewed a lot of great artists in this country, which is a privilege for me to do. And I thought, I'm going to ask Troy this question. I've never asked anybody, and I don't even know if it's appropriate. But you would have 1 million fans out there, Troy, and they'd probably spend hours waiting for your signature or to have a photo taken with you. And, who is it that you'd line up for? So you just answered my questions. That's amazing. And she's an obscure act too. I mean, I line up for Ricky Skaggs or Vince Gill, all these people that I've listened to since I was a child, or, especially Merle Haggard or George Jones, because they've been the people that have inspired me all my life. But, everyone has heroes, Johnny Cash had when I met him during the Highwayman tour, he had a little signature written on his black guitar. And I thought, who would he have on his guitar? And I said, can I have a look at the signature on your guitar? I got close enough, and it was Gene Autry. Oh, wow. Gene Autry had signed Johnny Cash's guitar. He wanted him to sign his guitar. And I thought, well, we've all got heroes, and that just summed it up to me that even Johnny Cash, someone of that ilk, has his own love affair with someone that he grew up with as well.
I know, that's amazing, isn't it?
So there you go. Great question too, by the way.
I'm
Thank
glad
you.
you answered that question, Troy, because I didn't know whether it was appropriate to ask someone of your stature that question.
That's no worries at all.
Troy, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. I know that you are pressed for time. You've got another phoner, I think, like in a handful of moments, I think.
Well, look, thanks for your time, Kylie. I do mean what I say. If you want to track me down for the 1640 show and do some proper IDs, I'll have an acoustic guitar backstage as well, and we can knock them over for you. 94.1's been incredible to me over many years.
Shh, don't tell everybody. Just tell me.
They've played my songs that I've recorded in motel rooms years ago. That's how much they've supported me. So I'll happily do them for you. No
I am
worries.
going to do that now. I'm going to make my way through, and I'm going to tell all the barrage of people. No, Troy said I could come backstage. Troy said I could talk to him.
There's no security at our backstage. We're pretty loose, the old country boys.
Oh, that's cool. Because you have said it on the radio, and millions of people are listening. Hopefully, millions. Yeah, I'm taking you up on that, and I'm going to grab you by the scruff of the neck, and I would even wait to have my photo taken with you too, because for me, you're up there, mate.
No, well, thank you very much. And it looks, like I say, great interview and great questions too. It got me thinking there for a bit to make sure that I was going to answer it right. But we're looking forward to the 1640s. It's always a highlight in my calendar year to come down there. And, around Newcastle and Central Coast, we have a huge country following. Well, most of the hillbillies that play country music live down that way, so we have to have a big following, don't we?
You do have to have a big following. Troy, again, thank you so very much. As I said, it's been a pleasure, and good luck with the rest of the tour. I know it's going to be great, and to work with Kenny Rogers again.
Good on you, sweetheart. Thanks, Kylie. Have a good day.
Yeah, take care. Thanks so much, Troy.
Ta-da.
Whew, Troy Cassar-Daley. What a legend he is, and I'm pretty stoked to be able to chat to him. That is in fact the first time I've spoken to Troy, so I'm going to take him up on that. I'm going to grab him, have my photo taken, and I'm going to get him to do some promos. We're going to play another one of Troy's songs now, and this one sat at number 1 for several weeks on the Aussie Country charts. It is Live and Learn.
Time I see you, I just come undone. I don't have to tell you you're my number one. You understand me better than I do myself. And I couldn't picture my life with anyone else. So many crossroads I face with you. The strength of our love always got us through. And time don't mean a thing when you're in this deep. I'll ride down that hill with you, no matter how steep. Yeah. We live, we learn, I bleed, I burn for you in a world that sometimes just don't care. I'll fight for you, and I know that you would too on every twist and turn. We live and learn. Now this sunny road that we're riding on, we'll see good and bad, but we must be strong enough to face the storms that come our way. But as long as you're with me, everything's okay. We live, we learn, I bleed, I burn for you in a world that sometimes just don't care.
Oh, Troy Cassar-Daley, Live and Learn from the brand new CD Home.